Hi, I'm Taylor. Welcome to my channel, where I share the ins and outs of expat life in Malaysia. I also like to share my travels, and I love cruising. Stay tuned for 10 tips I have for cruise lines. They need some help. As an overview, I've been on 25 cruises over a span of 25 years, so that obviously only averages one cruise a year. I feel like I have enough experience with cruising to have a fairly well-educated opinion on certain things. The last cruise I was on Spectrum of the Seas, was the first one I've been on since the pandemic, and I've noticed a few changes, but I've noticed changes before that. So let me go through my list of 10 suggestions I have for cruise lines. Number 1, embarkation day. Please have more options for your lunch. The Windjammer Cafe on Spectrum of the Sea or the buffet on any ship is just an absolute mob scene on embarkation day. It doesn't need to be like that. Have some more venues open. Quantum of the Seas used to have a small cafeteria tucked away in the front. It was another buffet, and no one knew about it, so it was awesome. But now that on Spectrum of the Seas is now silver dining, which is a whole nother story about elitism, in my opinion. If they had more places open, it would just give everyone a better first impression of cruising. I've taken several people on their first cruise, and let me tell you, they are not impressed with the crowd scene at the buffet. Number 2, I think all ships should have at least one pool that has steps that go down into the pool and steps that come out for, maybe for overweight or elderly people such as myself. Now, I'm not so decrepit that I can't climb that ladder out of the pool, but it's not a pretty sight, and it's kind of embarrassing. And really, I think not having stairs down into the pool really discourages a lot of people from getting into the pool at all. Some ships I've been on, such as Celebrity Millennium, has stairs into the pool, and I know that some of the Princess ships do too. But I think it should be more common on all lines. Number 3, this sort of goes along with the pool complaint, but why do hot tubs need to be so hot? I mean, I guess that's what they're for, but when you're cruising in a climate that's like 95 degrees, you don't need hot water to get into. And a bubbling jacuzzi would be much more refreshing with cool water. That's just my feeling, but I think other people might share that. Number 4, elevators. What happened to 3 banks of elevators? All of the older ships I've been on had 3 banks of elevators: forward, midship, and aft. Now, these huge new ships, like Spectrum of the Seas that I was just on, and Quantum of the Seas for that matter too, only have 2, forward and midships. Well, this last cruise we were on, our cabin was so far aft that it was a ridiculous distance to get to the cabin from the elevators. I did notice one day that there was a bank of elevators back there, but they were just for the staff. Thanks a lot. Number 5, I know that it's flashy and makes people feel at home, I guess, to have that center shopping mall in most ships now. But really, can't you get enough shopping mall at home? And I feel the ship is just turning its back to the sea in most of those cases. Most of those shops and restaurants that are along the promenade don't have any windows out to the sea. I mean, why are you on a cruise if you're not going to look at the sea? Number 6, to go along with that, my complaint about the shopping mall concept, what about these high-end stores? Do people really shop at Tiffany's in Bulgari when they're on vacation? I know I don't. I don't even go in there. I'm so intimidated by it. I don't know, maybe it's a status thing just to have them on the ship. I think if they had more moderately priced shops, they would do a lot better. Number 7, this has been creeping in the last 5 years or so that I've noticed, and that's class structure. I mentioned earlier that the Quantum had that solarium buffet in the front of the ship that was open to everyone. Now it's silver dining, which is suites only. They've also closed off half of the solarium itself for suites people. Then they have gold dining, and a special place for gold people to lay in the sun. I don't know. I guess it's lovely if you are in a suite or paying top dollar and you don't want to mix with the riffraff. But honestly, I liked it better when everyone was sort of going to the same restaurants and most venues were open to everyone. Just me. Number 8. I think this might be a result of the pandemic. My last cruise on Spectrum of the Seas, I noticed price gouging pretty badly. To start with, they were charging $90 a day per person for this unlimited drink package. That's ridiculous. The last cruise I went on Royal Caribbean, the drink package was $45 a day. Now I understand they're trying to make back some money that they've lost during the pandemic, but that's a huge increase. Also, the specialty dining. It used to be $25 or $30 a person. Now it's like $65 on Spectrum. What's up with that? Number 9. Gimmicky attractions. I know I would never pick a cruise just because it had a race car track, bumper cars, skydiving, zip line, or surfing. Now, I guess some of those are attractive to people, younger people and kids. But do we really want to attract kids on cruises? I don't. But I don't know, maybe I should just stick to more sedate lines in the future because I don't care about that stuff, and I don't think a lot of people my age do. I don't want to sound like a curmudgeon, but it's just not necessary, and I think they could have nicer attractions. And number 10, they really need to work on their disembarkation. On the Spectrum, the last cruise I was on, it looked like they had it all worked out, where you stayed in your cabin until your number was called. But then every time they made an announcement, they said, if you want to get off, just go. Well, this created a huge bottleneck, and we waited about 45 minutes in a line just to get off the ship. That just puts a bad taste in your mouth at the end of a cruise. I'm sorry. So those are just some of my 10 tips for cruise lines. I hope someone's listening because I don't think I'm alone in feeling this way. I still love cruising, don't get me wrong. I just think it could be improved. Thank you for tuning in today. And as always, if you like my video, please like and subscribe, and tune back in soon because I'm going to have a lot more videos on my expat life and travel. Bye for now.